Hallo zusammen! I'm Dave from Definitely German, and today you're gonna learn everything about Du riechst so gut by Rammstein. What is the song all about? What is interesting about the lyrics linguistically speaking? And what can you take away from them as a German language learner? That and more, I guess. Let's go! Du riechst so gut is a really interesting song in Rammstein's entire discography. It was released on the band's debut album Herzeleid, Heart's Sorrow, in 1995, but it wasn't until 1998 when the band released a second, more professionally shot, dramatic music video highlighting the overall brooding and dark nature of the lyrics and the entire mood of the song. Anyway, in order to explain everything properly, what's interesting about the lyrics from a linguistic point of view, I'm gonna translate the German lyrics to English in a rather literal way. Let's begin. Der Wahnsinn ist nur eine schmale Brücke. Die Ufer sind Vernunft und Trieb. Ich steig dir nach. Das Sonnenlicht den Geist verwirrt. Ein blindes Kind, das vorwärts kriecht, weil es seine Mutter riecht. This song arguably has one of Rammstein's most iconic entries into one of their verses, right? I mean, der Wahnsinn. Der Wahnsinn, the madness. Linguistically, the word contains a prolonging consonant, the H. It shows that the vowel before it, the A, is long. So it's not der Wahnsinn, but der Wahnsinn. Arguably, singer Till Lindemann extends the pronunciation of the A even a tad longer than you would in daily German, but that's for dramatization, I guess. I really love how he is able to create a clear, yet really atmospheric, brooding, dark picture with just a few words in this verse. That is a quality in its own right, a poetic one, and talking about poetry, this song also shows that you don't have to rhyme every single line, and you can still create a poetic text simply by combining clear expressions with metaphors and abstract ideas that really enrich and trigger the imagination of the listener. Der Wahnsinn ist nur eine schmale Brücke. The madness is just a narrow bridge. For nur, only. Schmal, narrow. Die Brücke, singular. Die Brücken, plural, the bridge. After the first line, he literally extends the scenery by describing das Ufer, singular, die Ufer, plural, the shore. Two shores which are die Vernunft, mostly singular, the reason, and der Trieb, singular, die Triebe, plural, the instinct, urge or drive. Whereas the first two lines could just be interpreted as an introvert perspective, the following lines change the perspective of what's going on. Ich steig dir nach, which is a really poetic but not daily German way of saying I follow you. The German phrase jemandem nachsteigen is pretty old and outdated, even to the point that some young Germans may have never heard it or don't know its meaning, but it makes for a great poetic yet also dramatic description. A modern way of saying I follow you would be ich folge dir. The lyrical I also uses the informal form of address, dir, you, being the second person singular dative form of du, you. So either the lyrical I knows the person or animal that they are following, or they didn't even build a respectful connection with a neutral, formal form of address with sie. Who knows? The fourth line, das Sonnenlicht den Geist verwirrt, the sunlight confusing the mind, is using a rather question-like German syntax or word order, where the verb verwirrt confuses or irritates, being the third person singular indicative active form of verwirren, to confuse or irritate, comes last. A standard German word order for sentences would be subject, verb, object. Das Sonnenlicht, subject, verwirrt, verb, den Geist, object. Choosing a different, a freer word order helps to keep the poetic momentum going though. The last two lines are connected with the first part explaining what happens and the last line giving the reason with the German causal subjunction weil. Ein blindes Kind, das vorwärts kriecht, weil es seine Mutter riecht. A blind child that crawls forward because it smells its mother, which already hints at topics such as natural instinct and animal behavior. This is interesting since the terms das Kind, singular, die Kinder, plural, and die Mutter, singular, die Mütter, plural, could technically refer to both human beings and animals, but in German, we often distinguish between human beings and animals language-wise. For instance, we commonly use different terms for mouths. Human mouths would be der Mund, singular, die Münder, plural, whereas some animal mouths are called das Maul, singular, die Mäuler, plural. The aspect of smelling its mother evokes a rather wild, biological, animal-related imagery in my head, but I guess the same could apply to human babies having the same instincts. And just for clarification, yes, of course I know that human beings are essential animals as well, but I make that distinction in order to highlight the reasoning on the one side and the wild, untamed, the drive that we all have. And also because it sort of fits the music video of the song, which is great. By the way, in German we commonly use two similar yet different words as casual linking terms, Weil and Denn. Both introduce a reasoning for something, the reason why something is or happens the way it does, but Denn is a so-called Konjunktion, a conjunction, which means it only connects two main clauses. Ich komme zu spät, denn ich bin zu spät losgegangen. Here, both sentences could stand on their own, but it's the denn that links them and indicates the causal relation. You could also express the same sentence with weil. Ich komme zu spät, weil ich zu spät losgegangen bin. I'm late because I left too late. You may not see a difference in the English translation, but weil only connects an ordinate clause, ich komme zu spät, with a subordinate clause, weil ich zu spät losgegangen bin, which cannot stand on its own and has a different word order. To be honest though, when you speak to Germans, chances are that they will use weil, which is a subjunction, as a conjunction, meaning pretty much like denn. Both express the same causal relation. Grammatically speaking, they are different. But, you know, in colloquial, spoken, daily German, many Germans don't really care, and or they don't actually know the difference. Just so you know, as language learners especially. Also, funny enough, the verse ends with a very similar grammatical phenomenon it has begun with, a prolonging letter. This time it's the e in Riechst. Don't confuse ie with a diphthong though. Yes, a diphthong is a fixed combination of two vowels, but one that creates a sound made up of two vowels being combined. So one sound out of two single sounds basically. And here we also have two vowels, but just one sound. A long E, because the E isn't enunciated. It's not Riechst or something like that, it's Riechst. Now you could assume that the first verse is followed by the chorus, but no, it's followed by the second verse. And that one paints the story in even more blood-like reddish colors. Ich finde dich. Die Spur ist frisch und auf die Brücke tropft dein Schweiß, dein warmes Blut. Ich sehe dich nicht, ich riech dich nur, ich spüre dich. Ein Raubtier, das vor Hunger schreit, witter ich dich meilenweit. Here the eye shows that it's self-aware, which may speak for it being a human being or at least a type of self-aware creature, because it refers to themselves as das Raubtier, singular, die Raubtiere, plural, the predator, literally the robbing animal. Being faced with pretty natural instincts for der Instinkt, singular, die Instinkte, plural, or das Bedürfnis, singular, die Bedürfnisse, plural, the need, which is der Hunger, only singular, the hunger. As you can hear, the German pronunciation doesn't really enunciate the G, der Hunger. The G is sort of implied, but just barely. Other descriptions rather remind of human beings acting as dedicated, line 1, hunters, der Jäger, singular, die Jäger, plural. Especially lines 2 and 3 highlight this. Die Spur ist frisch und auf die Brücke tropft dein Schweiß, dein warmes Blut. The trail is fresh and on the bridge your sweat drips your warm blood. 4. Die Spur, singular, die Spuren, plural, the trail or lead. Frisch, fresh, with the typical German variant of the English sh. sch, sh. Die Brücke, Singular. Die Brücken, Plural, the bridge. Featuring the common German consonant combination CK, in which only the K is pronounced though. Tropfen, to drip. Der Schweiß, mostly singular, sweat. Warm, warm. Das Blut, mostly singular, the blood. The terms Schweiß, sweat, and Blut, blood, also work in both a sexual and a primal survival of the fittest situation between animals in die Wildnis, singular, die Wildnisse, plural, the wilderness. Please excuse me for playing around with this whole human versus animal perspective kind of shift, but it works really well in the song, I think, and it really makes different interpretations and points of view possible. An animal hunting down a human hunting down a human, or an animal hunting down an animal. Now, finally, the chorus enters the scene, which explains the main motivational factor for the predator. Du riechst so gut. Du riechst so gut, ich geh dir hinterher. Du riechst so gut, ich finde dich. So gut, so gut. Ich steig dir nach. Du riechst so gut. Gleich hab ich dich. So the song title is You Smell So Good, which also works in both ways on its own, an erotic human scent or as a hunting instinct between animals. Apart from mentioning the olfactory type of sense that is driving the lyrical eye as the predator, riechen, to smell, the interesting semantic factor here is how you interpret the adjective gut, good. In a good or positive way, you could basically use it as a compliment of sorts. Oh, du riechst so gut. Du hast heute aber ein schön riechendes Parfüm aufgetragen. Or it's a good scent for the predator because they can smell your fear or your sweat or your blood. One of my personal favorite linguistic details in this entire song is the interplay between lines 4 and 5. Ich finde dich so gut, so gut. Ich steig dir nach. The first line on its own just sounds like a threat, a sign of hunting dedication, but it's only the second line in combination with that either specifies or multiplies the meaning. I find you so good I follow you. But why multiplying? Well, because it's either so good in the hunting sense of you smell so good, your scent makes it easy for me to follow the trail and to find you. And or it's an honest, well-intended compliment. Ich finde dich so gut. I find you so good, as in I like you so much. The other variations of the chorus only differ in singular spots. The connection between the chorus and the third verse is really immediate, since the last line in the chorus says, Gleich hab ich dich. I'll have you in a minute, meaning I'm closely behind you, it's only a matter of seconds. Jetzt hab ich dich. Now I've got you. And follows up with, Ich warte, bis es dunkel ist. Dann fasse ich an die nasse Haut. Verrat mich nicht. Oh, siehst du nicht, die Brücke brennt. Hör auf zu schreien und wehr dich nicht, weil sie sonst auseinanderbricht. Again, the bridge and the nasse Haut, wet skin, could paint a picture of a predator hunting prey in the rain at night. Or it's someone stalking a person who sweats because it's really hot, or because they just left the bathtub, shower, or whatnot, or they are nervous. This verse also serves as the climax of the plot, highlighting once again that the recipient doesn't wish to be touched or harmed in the first place in lines 3 and 5. Hör auf zu schreien und wehr dich nicht. Stop screaming and don't resist. Linguistically, I really enjoy how this verse really picks up on where the song started in a way, because it picks up on the bridge metaphor in the last 3 connected lines. Oh, siehst du nicht, die Brücke brennt. Hör auf zu schreien und wehr dich nicht, weil sie sonst auseinanderbricht. For brennen, to burn. Aufhören, to stop. Schreien, to scream. Wehren, to resist, fight back or defend. Sonst, otherwise. Auseinanderbrechen, to break apart. Here, the lyrical I declares that their inner balance between Vernunft, reason, and Trieb, instinct, urge, or drive, is endangered and could completely fall apart, meaning they may not be able to control themselves anymore. They say that if the victim or prey were to fight back and defend the attack, the bridge between reason and instinct may burn down completely. In some way, I guess, you could say that the lyrical I is basically gaslighting the victim into not wanting to be the one responsible for this lack of control and the bad things that may happen because of their behavior, if that makes sense. What's equally fascinating and also disturbing is the fact that the song doesn't really have a clear resolution. We don't really know if the prey or a victim survived, fought back, gave in, etc., etc. Who knows? Feel free to share your interpretation of it and what is interesting about this one for you in the comments down below. And of course, thanks for watching and supporting the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Even sharing the video with others helps a whole lot. So thank you very much appreciated from the bottom of my German heart. And with that being said, definitely see you next time. Tschüss und bis zum nächsten Mal.